Welcome into Dolphins Today. I am Tom Downey. Today's show presented by Manscaped. It is smooth sack summer after all. You can get 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Dolphins over at manscaped.com. We begin with the latest on Dalvin Cook as the Jets and the Patriots are reportedly in the mix for Cook and not just the Miami Dolphins. Although I do wonder, at least a little bit, is this the leverage play by Cook to get a little bit more money out of the Miami Dolphins? We'll break down the two reports linking the Jets and the Patriots maybe a bit more heavily or more firmly than previous speculation, whatever. Miami, of course, has been heavily in the mix for Dalvin, and I know many of you want him in Miami. If that is you, if you want Dalvin Cook on the Miami Dolphins, then show me. Spam me in the comment section so I can see which one of you guys really want Dalvin Cook as a member of the Dolphins. We'll spam those me's right now as we break down what Jeremy Fowler said. This is ESPN's Jeremy Fowler on the Patriots side of things. He says, my sense from asking around is the Patriots are at least intrigued. They have a bit of a need at running back. They want a back that can pair with Rhamondre Stevenson. Bill Belichick does sense the urgency to improve that offense. The Patriots let Damian Harris leave to the Buffalo Bills in free agency. They brought in James Robinson, and he didn't make it out of OTAs and minicamp. He got cut. He wasn't healthy. Stevenson's primed to be the lead back. My Pierre Strong dynasty stock would prefer it if they don't sign Dalvin Cook, plus it'd be more fun for Miami. But there is a potential need at running back for the Patriots and for the Jets. Mike Florio, and I will make note that Fowler also mentioned the Jets having interest. But Mike Florio reports this. The Jets have more interest than most realize because of running back Breece Hall's ongoing ACL recovery and because they're already gone all in by trading for quarterback Aaron Rodgers. The Jets having interest, I think, has been mentioned before. They were one of the teams heavily linked to Dalvin Cook for the most part. Jets, Broncos, Dolphins have been the top three teams most frequently linked. But if Dalvin Cook, for all the Dolphins buzz and drama and the photos he's posted, his agent's comments, if he goes to a rival, the Jets, Dolphins, or we can mix in the Bills there as well, how upset would you be if the Dolphins did not land Cook and another AFC East team does? This is going to be today's pinned comment, so if that ad plays here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. 1 to 10 is your scale. 1, of course, is you're not mad at all. 10 is the meme of you're crying behind the mask and a smiley face. You're very upset. Go vote if that ad plays right now here at the pinned comment. The odds to land Dalvin, we have an updated list for you guys here on today's show because we care about you. The Dolphins are still the betting favorite. The newest odds, though, no longer minus 300, now plus 125. Those are not the most favorable odds, or at least relative to previous ones. Denver's plus 500. The Jets and Bills are both plus 900. Cowboys and Bears, who I don't really buy as threats, are plus 1,000. No sign of the Patriots on that top 6 list that was put out. The Dolphins, in the end, are still my selection to land Dalvin Cook. It just makes sense. They were allegedly the team that had the interest in adding him before the trade or before the NFL draft. That kind of fell apart. They then end up taking, I go way too fast talking. Devon Achane, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson are simply players who are not healthy. So the mutual interest is very clearly there. And I kind of mentioned it earlier. What I'm very curious about is, could this be a ploy from Dalvin Cook and his camp to draw interest from other teams, increase his market? I think Dalvin Cook at minimum wants $7 million a year because James Conner makes that. And I am not the highest player on current day Dalvin Cook. He's better than James Conner is. And he was in line to get a big chunk of change. That ended up not happening from that perspective. Like, that is the question mark, right? How much does he want? How much can he get in July in an open market? If he can add more teams in the mix, he could potentially get a little bit more. So I do think that's at play. I think Miami has their price tag in mind. Maybe it's around $7 million. If the Jets or Patriots offer more, does he come back to Miami and say, I'll meet you halfway? We'll find out at some point, probably before or around training camp. This edition of Dolphins Today is presented by Manscaped, the leader in men's grooming products. You can get 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code DOLPHINS over at manscaped.com. It is smooth sack summer, and if you want to be looking your best and feeling your best and having some success off the field, if you will, you got to be using Manscaped's product, highlighted by the Performance Package 4.0. It's got the Lawnmower 4.0. The number one product when it comes to below-the-waist grooming. The Weed Whacker, which is perfect if maybe you need some trimming of your hairs or your nose, or you know someone in your life who does. The Lawnmower 4.0 is the absolute best when it comes to men's grooming products, by the way. Cutting-edge ceramic blade designed to help reduce cuts and bruises and scrapes, because let's be honest, that's not fun. If you had that happen, it's not a fun product at all, or a fun result at all. Fun product is the Weed Whacker 2.0. Ear trimming or nose hair trimming as well. And by the way, the Performance Package comes with the boxers, the most comfortable ones known to man. I am wearing one right now, but we have a new producer in Chris, and I feel like if I show those, HR is going to come at me. The Shed Travel Bag, super valuable as well. You guys can get 20% off and free shipping with code DOLPHINS at manscaped.com. That link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. 20% off. Manscaped.com, promo code DOLPHINS. Smooth sack summer. Get on board or get left behind. Let's go to Isaiah Wynn, as Wynn signed with the Dolphins this past offseason. And the Athletic had an interesting note of like the one concern for each team or one question mark. And they, of course, spent it on the offensive line, which makes sense after a joke about adding more speed there. The Athletic did list him as both an option at left guard and at left tackle, replacing Teron Armstead if and when he gets hurt, probably when, that's how he is. You knew that going in when you signed him. And competing with Liam Eichenberg as the left guard starter. Now, the Dolphins have thrown assets out on the offensive line. You draft Ryan Hayes. You sign guys like Dan Feeney, Isaiah Wynn. You've spent draft picks, Robert Hunt, Austin Jackson. You also signed Cedric Ogbuehi. We'll spend some more time on the offensive line in the future. But that left guard spot is a question mark. I still think that's maybe Connor Williams' best spot, but we digress. Eichenberg, as we'll get into, was not very good last year. Really no way around that one. So will Isaiah Wynn start at left guard this year for the Miami Dolphins, or at least begin the season as the starter at left guard, knowing there's that left tackle flex option there? Y for yes, N for no. You guys can vote for me. Where else but the comment section. In 2022, Wynn fell out of favor. 4 sacks allowed, 2 hits, 11 hurries. PFF run grade wasn't as good. Some teams coming out of Georgia viewed him as a guard. Patriots said, you can play left tackle for us. Maybe Miami can maximize his ability and his talent by putting him in there at left guard in the short term and the long term. Because Liam Eichenberg played more games. The run blocking was not as good. And again, Wynn struggled last year. So did Eichenberg. I still wonder if maybe he's a better fit as a left tackle. Although arm length is a bit of a concern there. He's been up and down. There are still valid concerns about this Dolphins offensive line, but adding competition is always a good thing, especially when it comes to trench play. Folks, we are 686 subscribers away from 43K. I know Will is gone. That's okay. We're still going to have videos for you guys, so make sure you are subscribed. Free videos. Pretty much, we're going to stick with our every single day mantra. When you guys sub, hit that sub button right now. There's an interesting article that I read this morning from Fansided. Dale Paul Jordan wrote it. And the argument was it's Chris Grier's fault. And I think what he meant to do was frame it as if the Dolphins have success, it's Chris Grier's credit, positive fault, right? If they don't have success, it's his fault from a negative perspective. But there was a lot in that article that just kind of came off as not liking Chris Grier and thinking he's done a bad job and putting up very high expectations and also kind of like just contradictory stuff across the board. So we'll break down the main quote from the article. Then we'll get to my thoughts and some other notes from it. First, this is a make-or-break season for the Miami Dolphins. If the Dolphins suffer to make it anything past an NFC Championship game, this season is a waste. The Dolphins can't struggle to make it to the playoffs or have a first-round exit. If that happens, this team will be blown up. That's a lot to put out there. On one hand, the claim is it's the best roster in years or decades for the Miami Dolphins. And they've added good players in free agency or trades, but that's only because they've missed on draft picks and there are future cap concerns. And this idea, for me, now on one hand, it's a great roster. Also, it's bad. Does not correlate. Now, there is a very accurate argument to make that you've missed on too many draft picks. Totally agree there. I think we also get under expectations for some of the draft picks in terms of how often you should hit. So I got my own thoughts here to come in a second. But I want you guys to grade the job that Chris Grier has done so far. A, B, C, D, or F. How do you feel about what Grier has done since taking over as the GM of the Miami Dolphins? Go vote. No wrong answers in the comment section. A, B, C, D, or F. You don't have to give him an A, but I think it's at least a positive, right? I have issues with how on one hand you can say, on this side, Chris Grier, the Dolphins roster, best it's been in decades. And then the next argument you're going to make is, well, it hasn't been good enough, and you have crazy high aspirations. Those are contradictory. The Dolphins have had 3 straight winning seasons. That is the first time that has happened since the early 2000s. That's really good for this franchise in recent memory. On the one hand, we're talking about AFC Championship or bust for the same franchise that has one playoff win this century. That's not very many. You guys can all do math. Expectations being high, that's fine. Having some trying to win now mindset, also fine. But this idea that it's AFC Championship or bust, and if you only win one playoff game, you should blow it all up when you have a young quarterback around, like that does not make sense to me. So I have issues with that mindset, with the argument laid out. It's perfectly fine to want more out of Chris Grier and the Dolphins organization, but to put this like he's bad mindset and I'll say it's the best roster in decades, that does not make sense.